All right, so we'll start now the 33rd Mamer in Shir Hashirim. The continuation, it's the same pasuk. We had the Mamer and a beer, and he's continuing on the same pasuk with Shishim Heima Malachim, Ushmoinim Pilakshim, Shishim Heima Malachis, Ushmoinim Pilakshim Chulu. He quoted from the Gemara that the Malachis, those are the tractates, that's the Mesechtas. And the Pilakshim are 80, that's the Brises. And he's going to further discuss this whole idea. So let's look inside. Shishim, Heimo, Melochis, Ushmoinim, Pilakshim, Chulu. V'omru Razal, our sages of blessed memory said, Samach Melochim, the Shishim Melochis, Eilu, Samach Mesechtes. Those are the 60 tractates. Ushmoinim Pilakshim, and the 80 concubine women are Elu HaBraises. That's compared to the Braises. And Va'alomis, and the Alomis, the young, the women, Koi al Halochis, that refers to the laws. The regular Halochis, which means all the Halochis of Torah Sheba'al Peh, that's called Alomis. I know, as he says in the parentheses, Memres ha'Amoraim, the saying of the Amoraim, and he quotes Loshen Medrash Shir Hashirim Mamer. What is the language that it says in the Medrash in Shir Hashirim Mamer? V'alomis in this per means ein kates l'toisefes. There is no end to the additions, as much called, probably related to kol mashetamid vosik osik l'chadesh. It is a continuous ein mispar addition to the Torah that comes from the Torah Sheba'al Peh, from the sayings of the Amoraim. So we need to understand. So why are the Mishnayos called the Melachos? So they are the actual queens, and the Braises are called the concubine. Why are the Braises concubine? That's it. Gam Allahovi, and also to understand Mashakosu B'tchilos Aseres Hadibres. In the beginning of the Aseres Hadibres, it says, "By Daber Elikim es kol hadvorim ha'ila leimer." Elikim, Hashem spoke all these words, but it says leimer, to say. Who are we to say it? What does it mean, leimer, to say? Who is there to say it to? The Rebbe is going to ask the Rebbe, since all Yidden were by Matan Torah, so there's nobody to say it to really, because everybody heard it directly. All the time in the Chumash, when it says Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe leimer, that means Hashem spake to Moshe, so that Moshe to say it to the Bnei Yisrael. But in this case, that all the Bnei Yisrael were there. Who is he to say it to? The Ma'achar Shaseres Hadibres Shamu Kol Yisrael. Mipi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, since the 10 sayings all Yidden heard from Hashem's mouth in Cain, Eich Shaykh Tevas Leimer. So what does it mean, the word to say? Who is it to say it to? It's understood in the other mitzvahs of the Torah, Yisrael Shamu Mipi Moshe. And over there, the Yidden heard it from Moshe. Moshe hu sheshama Mipi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Moshe is the one that heard it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, Shaykh Loshen Leimer, over there, it fits the language to say. What does it mean? Dahainu, Shakadosh Baruch Hu Amar LeMoshe, that is, Hashem says to Moshe, La'achzirhu ulamar LeYisrael, so that he should go ahead and repeat it and say it to the Yid. Avo baseres hadibrei shekol Yisrael shamu mipi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But when we talk about the 10 saying in which all the Yidden heard it from Hashem, in Leimer case, so you can't say that he told it to him to give it to the Yidden, because the Yidden heard it directly from Hashem. They didn't need Moshe to repeat it to them. So what would be Leimer? Similar is in the Mishnah, similar situation, question in the Mishnah, in the 5th chapter of Soita Chav Zayin Amud Beis. Al-Lemer shebaz Yoshir Moshe b'nei Yisrael Sashir Azois Lemer. Over there, when we say in the Oz Yoshir, it says Yoshir Moshe b'nei Yisrael Sashir Lemer. So over there, the Mishnah says Shein Talmud Lemer Lemer. Since all the Yidden were there at the Shir Hashirim, they were all saying Shira together, Moshe b'nei Yisrael. Who is it lamer to say to? That's the Mishnah. So we see, so what's the pshat here by Matan Torah? First, we have to introduce the meaning of the pasuk. Koil doidi hine zebo, the voice of my beloved. He comes jumping over the mountains and jumping on the hilltops. Koil doidi. What does it mean? The voice of my beloved of doidi, the voice of Hashem. When is that voice? That's Matan Torah, because by Matan Torah there were voices over there. So Koil doidi means the voice of my beloved of Matan Torah. Koil doidi koya Matan Torah. That goes on the time the Torah was given. Ki b'Matan Torah ksi v'chol royim as hakoilis, all the people, they saw the koilis. So that means there were koilis there. So the koil doidi was the koilis of Matan Torah. And then it says, Umashenemar hinei zebo, koil doidi hinei zebo. What is zebo? Hinei zebo means he's coming. Behold, he's coming. But technically, we should have said that he came in the past. Not zebo, he's coming now. Hinei zebo is present. It should say he came in the past. Hinei zebo shu loshen hoive, veloy omar loshen ovar. Why doesn't he say a language of the past? Well, because according to the truth, it's presently also it comes. It's not only that koil doidi that comes in the past, but every time we learn Torah, even presently, we have the koil doidi. It also comes now every time. And every period that a person sits and occupies himself in Torah, so then it comes and it extends that voice itself that was Matan Torah. That's what we're saying. It's coming now because it continues. That voice itself that was Matan Torah continues to come now. Presently, that's why it's bought. And as it will be explained later on, Mitzvah. Understand all the above, and also V'gam Inyan. Further, the post says Medalig al Hahorim. He skips over, he jumps over the mountains. So first we need to understand the idea of Hishtalshelus. What is Hishtalshelus? The pasuk says, "B'chol chachmei hagoyim u'b'chol malchusa," in all of the wise of the nations and in all of their kingdoms, me'ein kamoicha, there is nobody like you. That means that it is recognizable, as the Alter Rebbe will explain. Even the nations of the Goyim, even in all of their governments, they all recognize Me'ein Kamoicha, there is no one like Hashem. Amam David HaMelech, Olav HaShalom Amar, but how did David HaMelech say it? He says, Rabbis Osisa Ato Hashem Elikai. You have done, rabbis, many things you've done. You, Hashem, my God. He says, Nifle oisecha umachsheveisecha Eleinu ein rechelacha. That your wonders and your thoughts, to us, there is no comparison to you. So versus saying that you ain't kamaycha, there's nobody as smart as you, agree to you, we just say there's no comparison to you. There's a big difference between the loshen that David HaMelech uses with regards to the Eberster, that the Eberster is ein aroich, which is a level of bligvul, not hishtalshalus, and the level of the Chachma Umis, which they recognize it's within hishtalshalus, but there's still a comparison. It's not ein aroich, a lecha, as David HaMelech says with regards to Hashem. What is the idea? The truth is that also the sages of the nation, they also agree in Hashem's blessed godliness. They know. And therefore, that's the meaning when we say, amongst the nations of the Goyim, there's nobody like you. So what does that mean? That they also know, they recognize there's nobody like Hashem. The only thing is, but they say, that the Ishtalshalus, that the way the world was created is in a chain reaction. It's an Ishtalshalus, a cause and effect, which is a whole lower level, not Yesh Me'ayin, but Ishtalshalus. It is a much narrower and lower level of appreciation of Hashem. They say it came in a way of Ishtalshalus, Ilavol. And it's known that every effect has a relationship and a lineage. It's connected with the cause. Effect and the cause are connected. There is at least some kind of a connection, a relationship between the Ila and Olu. Hishtalshalus, which is Ila and Olu, it's connected. The top and the bottom, whatever goes, the cause and the effect are connected. Say, for example, by a person, yes, there is Seichel, Umidos, Umachshava V'dibur. We have the intellect, we have the emotions, we have the thought, and you have the speech. The kol echod nishabe mechaveira, and each one comes into being from the other. Seichel creates midos, midos brings to the thought, and thought brings to speech. The hainu, that is when a person reflects in his mind, that gives birth, that creates the emotion. Lasis, chesed, to do kindness is similar to it. Although the emotion, that midah, is not from the essence of the seichel, yet there is a connection from the seichel and the midah, based on the value of the seichel, how and what it is, that intellect, that's the way it comes out openly to doing kindness, is because it goes by the intellect. That's why the minor desires small things, because according to his mind, being poor of mind, meaning not having the real knowledge, he doesn't want big things because he doesn't know of big things. And that's why he wants small things. V'hagodel shesichel godel moizbeh. But the adult who has a larger seichel, he rejects them. He refuses them. He doesn't like them because he has a bigger seichel. He doesn't want those things that the minor wants. Like the pasuk says, a person, the ish, his emotion, he will be praised by his intellect, because the intellect creates that emotion that comes from him, and based on what the level of that intellect, that's what the emotion comes out. The measure and the emotion of the love and the fear are similar, is according to the intellect. And further, Gam haseichel mislabesh achach ba'amida lases achesed. And then also later on, the idea, the seichel, the intellect dresses up in the emotion, how to do the chesed. So that's the second step. So this is a level of Ilava Olul, a level of Ilava Olul, Shaha Olul, Yeshloi, Erech v'yachas v'yichus la'ila. That is the level of Ilava Olul in which the effect has a relationship and has a connection to the Ilah. So there is still relationships there. There's a lineage there. One comes from the other, the lineage. You can tell them. Again, not yesh me'ayin, but ilav olu. That's the creation in the concept of the chachmei umis in the goyisha from their potential. Further, the example is same thing is the midah relative to the thought that comes from the midah. Shemislabeshes be hamachshove, that dress, the emotion dresses up in the thought. V'hamachshove b'dibur, and the thought in the speech. V'kol echad nishave zeh mizeh v'ishtalshlus. Each one has been created one from the other in that evolution and the chain reaction from the seichel, the midos, from the midos, the machshove, from machshove, the dibur. And therefore, each of these causes impact a change in the other one. There is a change in the cause, in the ilah, by dressing up in the effect in the olul. It's not as it was in the essence, like it was before. Say, for example, when a person reflects in his mind some love, so then his mind, his intellect is dressed up in that idea, in the idea of love, and he's not able to reflect then in other ideas. Now his entire intellect is filled with this emotion that he's invested in. So now there's a change in his mind, because he doesn't have room for any other haskolas. He's all completely invested in that level of the ava that he's thinking about. So nimtzu yeshinu ba'seichel mashtichim v'na'atzmei b'tzir. What's the next word?
Hamaskelis.
Mitzir
Hamaskelis.
Hamaskelis. Hey mem sin
Wav. No. Hey mem wav.
Hamus kolos.
Hamus kolus. Yes.
Okay. Hey mem vav Sin Kuf Lamed Vav Sof.
Yes.
So before it was by itself, it was in the idea of Muskolos, Ubein Lamash, Nimshach Achakach. What's the next word? Achakach?
Beha-olul.
Beha-olul. And then when they come to Olul, Shobinyan Abba. Now there is the Abba. So now he gets preoccupied in the Abba. And this is true by every Ilah Olul. Meaning that the Ilah invests itself in the Olul and it becomes changes and it becomes preoccupied into that level. Since the worlds and the creations came into being, is it mim machshavtoi?
Yes, mi machshavtoi.
Machshavtoi is borich. So it could enter your mind, God forbid, that they too, that the worlds and the Nivroim were created through a level of Ishtalus Ilavolu. Cause and effect, that's the way the world was created. As the opinion of the wise of the nations, the earlier wise nations, that they thought that it comes in a way of Yilavolu. That's why David HaMelech, peace unto him, said, Rabbi Sosisochulu ein areich eilecha. Then there's ein areich, there's no comparison. Kikol ha'ilameis ein poyalim shum shinu bo yizbarach. All the world's impact, no change in him, blessed. Ukemaimer, and like we say, Atu achel nivra ilom v'atu mishanivra. You are the one before the world was created, and you are after the world was created. We're not just saying over here, well, Hashem is always. He was there before, he'll be there after. We're trying to say that he's there in the same way, that there's no change. So what he's trying to say over here, that he's Mishnivra equal. Belishum Shinu, no change. As the Pasuk says, it didn't change. So that is the meaning that they don't affect any change. How come they don't affect any change? Because there is no Ilav Olul here. The worlds is not at all, no comparison to the Creator Blessed. Even relative to that energy that comes to them from Hashem's machshava. And the way they are created, they're created by a jump and a restriction, not in a way of a cause and effect, God forbid. As we'll explain, that's what they're considered like nothing before him, because there is no relation, no comparison. It's just as before the world was created. So, and this is the meaning of the pasuk. Pirush. Hashem's thought to us, that's brought us into being. Machshaveisecha is Eleinu. Through his blessed thought, that brought into being the creation and the evolution of the worlds. And this is what the pasuk says: Rabbis osiso ato Hashem elikai nifloisecho machshvisecho eleinu ritzoyna leimar. So what does he want to say? Rabbis, that the ribu sheribu ritzoyna leimar sheribu ha'ilmas va'abruim kulam. Rabbis osiso, you did a lot of things. The multiple worlds. Ato Hashem elikai, Hashem elikai. My God, you made all these multiple and different creations and worlds. Kulam nizhabu al yedei machshavta yisbarach. They were all created through Hashem's thought. That's Ato Hashem Elokai niflosecha machshavisecha. But still, even though they came from Hashem's thought, ach afa pikein ein areich elecha mamash. But there's still, even though they're created to the machshava, there's still no comparison, no relationship to Hashem mamash. Hainu. So what that means, how is that? Because the way the worlds are created from Hashem's thought, it's not in a way of a cause and effect. But there is no comparison at all. There is no relationship at all relative to blessed machshava. That creates them and vitalizes them from ayin liyesh. So basically, all of the relationship of machshava is not ila va'olu, but in a way of ein aroich, in a way of yesh me'ayin. And the machshava is ein aroich. So while Rabbi Sosisa, Eberster has done all these things and all the creations from the level of machshava, but all this is not be'erech, it's not b'ishtalshlus, but it's ein aroich. Then the pasuk says, "Agido v'adabeira otzmu misapir." It's further. I will relate and I will say they are more than can be counted. Sort of otzmu misapir. They're too much to be counted. Pirush. Since Hashem has no end, so therefore, if the creation of the world was from Hashem's blessed thought, if it went in a chain reaction, cause and effect, a gradual degradation from one level to the other level, so then the worlds at all would not be in a level of a limit, a level of a finite, as it's now. Everything would be endless and without any limits. And so this is what it means. Otzmu misvar, too powerful to be counted, which means the hainu shahoyu b'bchinas b'likvu, that they would be b'likvu, there would be no end. And this is v'zehu, this is what it means. Nifloisecha u'machsheveisecha ein aleinu. Your wonders and your thoughts to us. Ein aroich eilecha. There is really no comparison to you. Agida v'adabeira. I will say, I will speak that it's otzmu misvar. in Machshavta Yisborich, that this Hamshocha from Hashem's blessed thought, Eleinu to us, while Derech She'ein Arich Mamash, it means that there is no, in a way of Ein Arich, is Otzum Misfer, Eloi B'chinas Ilo Ve'olu Chad V'Sholom, and not in the way of a cause and effect, because the creation of the world, the way it's not, is unlike the Chochmah Umas, which say that this is a level of Ishtalshalus. That means that there would be a comparison, and that means that the Ilo is invested in the Olul, but the Eibishter is not create the world in that way, but rather there is a Ein Aroich. There is no comparison. And from the level of Machshove, it is at a level of Ein Aroich Otzmo Misfer. Here's another interpretation now in the verse, in the parentheses. Or we can say the meaning. Kihine nifleisecha machshavesecha ein aleinu ein aroich. Now what it's talking about is not that from the level of Machshove is ein aroich. But Hainu Bechinas Sefer Kulam. That's talking about the level of Sefer Kulam. Could Lekamon the Pirush, as we're going to say later on when he's going to explain Kodesh, the Pirush Kodesh, Umuvdo. Ach liyis nimshach ha'ora b'toich ha'olamais. But in order, so when we say Nifleisecha machshavesecha ein aleinu ein aroich, that's the level of Sefer Kulam. But in order for the Hamshocha to be nimshach b'toich ha'olamais in the world, so Omar, that's what he says. Agido v'adabeiro otzmu misfer. So what is it? It's too much to count, which means hatzimtzumim. These are the restrictions. Restrictions for it to come down into the world. There's endless amount of tzimtzumim. Ribui revovis madreges, 10,000 times 10,000 steps. Ad mispar, till there's no number. Ad shenimshach ha'ora liislabesh ba'ilmos, until there is a shine, a ray that comes down into the world. V'ayin mashakosu bepirush posik zeh v'dibra maschil ki bayem hazeh yechaper beparshas acharei u'b'dibra maschil v'hi miketz chulu. So, what the Mamer begins to talk about the difference, the way the perception of creation of the world, the way the Chachmei Umas Ha'olam, they say it, is that they say that the world is created in a way of Ishtalshalus. And therefore there is a relationship between the cause and the effect. There's the mashal, like there's a relationship between Chochmah and the Midas. And not only is there a relationship, but the Chochmah is preoccupied by the Midas. And the same thing is Midas with Machshove and Dibur. But the Eibishter is not invested, really. That's the opinion of the Chachma Umas, that there is a Shtalshus. But the truth of the matter is, he teaches the Pasuk, and he's trying to explain the Kol Doidi, Medalig ala Horim, because this is not in a way of directly to be Mamshich. That comes in a way of Diluk, in a way of a jump over, because there's no comparison. So whether we say it from the level of Sefer Kulamim or from the level of Machshove, it doesn't go through the regular tzimtzum and doesn't invest himself. That's why we say the Eibishter doesn't change. He didn't change, and from before the world, the Eibishter, everything is the same. Why? Because relative to the Eibishter, nothing really happens, because he is beyond all this. And this is the true level of creation, and that's why David rejects the understanding of the Chachmei Umas, and he explains it this way, as we will continue to learn as we go on.